to a role, something like in Superman Lives, and now in this movie where he plays apparently like a CIA handler who's been around the block a couple of times. So I think he's gonna fit that role very well.
Yeah, and again, a solid actor, and considering he's got a good director in this one, and it's like you said, he seems pretty well suited for the part. I have good thoughts about this movie, but the thing that bothers me about this is that this is not to my knowledge, this is not a Tom Clancy book adaptation. To my knowledge, they're just using the character Jack Ryan.
And I believe I even saw that it was just based on the character created by Tom Clancy.
So to me, that kind of, maybe I'm being, overly critical of this, but kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth to think that, okay, they're just, starting a new franchise with Jack Ryan, kind of maybe instead of Bourne, it's going to be Ryan now in this franchise. And, can't we write, can't we do like an original story with someone other than Jack Ryan? Because then you kind of get all that baggage of other performances by other actors as Jack Ryan. You've got, obviously Harrison Ford's the big one, with Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games. You have Alec Baldwin in Hunt for Red October. Those are 3 excellent movies. Hunt for Red October is one of my favorite movies of all time. Then you've got the Sum of All Fears with Ben Affleck and Morgan Freeman. Definitely not the best Jack Ryan movie, but still, there's a lot of baggage that's going to go into the movie theater with a character that's been in those types of movies already that's been portrayed by big time Hollywood actors.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is you might look at this as kind of a franchise reboot. It's a Chris Pine vehicle, definitely. So he's not gonna. He'll have his Star Trek movies, but I feel like he wants to get into more roles like this that are more current day. Where he can fit that leading man role. And the thing is, if you look at Tom Clancy in the past decade, he's involved with a lot of stuff that he's not necessarily involved with.
No, you're right.
Of course, he's dead now. I mean, but there's a lot of those.
They've had a lot of serials that he's done.
Right.
Not breakfast cereals, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But with let's say Tom Clancy's. I'm blanking out on some of the names.
Like net games or one of them where one's all technology based and
Spec Ops or something and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I get that he's kind of the Tom Clancy name carries a certain weight that kind of gives credibility to any kind of like espionage, international intrigue type of story.
Video games are another thing that his name has been huge into. The Splinter Cell series, Rainbow Six, which of course that's based on his books, but it's just loosely based. And Tom Clancy doesn't give a shit about video games, so I would say so. It's just another thing of, okay, let's use that Tom Clancy name. In this situation, we can use kind of an established character that people are going to be familiar with. We're going to have the younger crowd that's just going to come for Chris Pine, but we have that older, well-read crowd that's going to want to see, okay, how's this new take on Jack Ryan?
Yeah, and maybe I'm being a little overly critical of it, but because I definitely don't have any negative feelings towards the Tom Clancy catalog of any way. I've enjoyed his books, and I know a lot of people have. There's a lot of people that, I mean, I know people, especially people like my dad's age, and the only things they read are Tom Clancy novels. So he's definitely somebody who, when you see his name on something or you see the Jack Ryan character, I think it automatically is going to pull some viewers in just for that. So I don't have a problem with that. But to me, I mean, you get my point. It's
right. Well, it's no surprise with the Hollywood, and I almost don't blame Hollywood, and here's why. You had a movie this summer like Pacific Rim that was a new story being told. It was an original story, and people went and saw Grown Ups 2. So in this situation, I can't really blame Hollywood for sticking with something that's maybe a well-known name. I mean, as long as those things keep happening, we're not going to have original stories in the theaters.
Yeah, and I think movie making it's such a large, just a huge undertaking, money.
Oh, and an investment, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to invest in something that they don't have a pretty close guarantee of return. And anything with Tom Clancy or Jack Ryan is going to have a certain amount of money made just for that.
Sure, absolutely.
So you're right.
Built-in audience.
You're right. Just like you get with the superhero movies,
right?
And novel adaptations and things. So no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, but I mean, I totally get your point though, and it is kind of disappointing. But I understand the decision behind it. I think they're trying to maybe take this into the James Bond realm a little bit, being able to switch characters and well-known, and maybe turn it into a franchise. Of course, I mean that's a safe bet for Hollywood right now. So I think that's what we're seeing. Did you notice the font in the trailer? It is the Star Trek font.
Yeah, you're right. Which is very similar. Which
is really strange with Chris Pine in the lead, and it looks just like the Star Trek font. So I don't know, just maybe a leftover.
What was the name of this? Jack Ryan, The Edge of Darkness was. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was Shadow Recruit. My bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cumberbatch is somewhere in this movie, though. I mean, he's another guy that's showing up in everything.
Yeah, you're right. He's turning into a Michael Caine Jr. as well, because I didn't realize this till recently, but he's the voice of Smaug as well, so he's in The Hobbit.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be involved. Now, I will say this. Just because Benedict Cumberbatch is in the movie does not mean it's going to be successful, because apparently Fifth Estate was a bomb.
No, yeah, I mean, and we were pretty critical of that when we went over the trailer. The fact that this story's not done.
Yeah. So
I don't think people are very interested just yet, because we haven't seen any kind of conclusion in real life.
Well, I think there's two. Yeah, that's part of it. I think there's also another element to it, in that people, I don't think, really want to somehow glorify Julian Assange.
Right.
Because there's still a lot of, there's a lot of raw nerves out there about what went on with the WikiLeaks and stuff. And this movie might just be a little bit too close to those feelings for people to really want to go out and spend money on something that maybe not intentionally, but is essentially kind of glorifying this guy.
Right.
So I think there were a couple of things that hurt Fifth Estate, but I don't necessarily think Benedict Cumberbatch is one of them, unless people are just getting tired of him, because he has been in a lot of stuff lately. And we'll see if there's some Cumberbatch fatigue, just like we'll see if there's some Fassbender fatigue, because he's been in 2 major releases here in the last 2 weeks. And oddly enough, Brad Pitt is in those same 2 movies, 12 Years a Slave and the Counselor that's coming out this week. They're both in both of those movies. Though I don't really notice it with Brad Pitt, but Fassbender's still kind of a newer,
right?
Newer on the scene, that it kind of stands out a little bit more.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to, the executive producer of Captain Phillips, we didn't mention that, was Kevin Spacey, that I thought was interesting.
No, you're right. When he was one of the first credits to pop up at the end of the movie, and we both looked at each other like, "Whoa,
yeah,
where'd that come from?"
Yeah, I mean, I like Kevin Spacey. I think he had a lot of involvement with House of Cards on Netflix, which was just outstanding from beginning to end. Amazing. Yeah. So, and he recently gave a speech. Have you seen his speech about the transition to things like Netflix and the transition media? A very impressive speech. I would go out there and search for it on YouTube. It's gotten a lot of hits, and I think we're seeing him as the forefront of a trendsetter, and we're going to see him involved in more projects. He's going to be one of those people where if you see his name attached to it, you're going to want to see it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Spacey fan. I mean, he's good in everything he does. So, and he's an incredibly interesting guy too. I mean, he's really funny. He's great when he's on things like Saturday Night Live.
Right.
When he's on talk shows, he's just incredibly engaging. Have to check out the Netflix talk.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up. I want to talk about a few things. You should hit up our site at DTMMBmedia.com. We have a couple of new book reviews up by our contributors, Katrina and Patrick. Be sure to check those out. We also have one by our other writer. It's about Facebook, how to lose friends, and it's a story about how he quit Facebook and how that affected him. Chris, of course, does not use Facebook. He's on there, but he doesn't use it very much. Well, a little bit. You do a little bit. You're not like me. I'm on there all the time. Maybe that's...
I'm not on there all the time.
I'm on there all the time.
But if you want to contact me on Facebook, I will respond to you.
He will. It's not that he doesn't like it or doesn't use it. It's just he's not on there as much as me. Also, be sure to check out our Tony Acree interview still. It's still floating out there in the Hand of God. And, Chris, you got a YouTube channel out there for your band.
Yeah, check out the Steel Fence Band on YouTube. We recorded not our last couple performances, but about a month ago we did a virtually the entire show is on there. So if you just kind of want to get a feel for what Steel Fence is all about, go check it out. There's also a link on the Steel Fence Facebook page to that channel. So if you always keep up with what's going on with the band. I don't put, what we're feeling this moment, in the status updates on that page, but I will post any upcoming performances.
Yeah, so especially if you're local in Louisville, make sure to check that out and come see them. If you're not local, hey, make a road trip. Louisville's a great place. We have a lot of great restaurants and a lot of great things to do. So, also connect with us at DTMMB Media on Twitter. And, give us a shout. And if there's anything you want us to mention on the show, we will be sure to do that. So until next time, this has been Vince DeGeorge and Chris Herndon.
Take care, all.
We'll see you next time.
This has been a Don't Tell Me My Business media production.
Keep that dog quiet!